Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be going over some of the most efficient hunting cartridges you can get. So if you are looking for a cartridge that is efficient, this video is for you. So we're really going to look at what gives you the best bang for your buck, quite literally. Okay, before I get into the most efficient cartridges, I want to give some honorable mentions. Cartridges that are very popular and also efficient. And ironically enough, we're going to start with a Magnum. Now I know Magnums are like the V8 of, vehicles. So they're not particularly efficient, but I think this is one of the more efficient ones. So I'm including it. The 300 Winchester short mag was introduced in 2001. The whole idea from Winchester was to get 300 Win Mag type performance in a short action Magnum, so that you are using a lighter rifle, a shorter barrel, so it's a bit better to pack around. And I think they've done that pretty successfully. I don't think it quite matches the 300 Win Mag performance, but it's very close, and you really can't go wrong with the 300 WSM. Next honorable mention is the 7mm 08 Remington. And I gotta tell you, this is a really underrated cartridge. I really like this one. But what it is a 308 case, neck down to 7mm, and it just gives great performance with its bullets. So it's not as powerful or as efficient as the 308 Winchester, but it's really close. And a lot of people love it because you're shooting these 284 diameter bullets, close to 308 Winchester velocity, but these 284 diameter bullets are a bit flatter than the 308. So this is a flatter shooting cartridge than the 308, and I know it's a very popular hunting round currently. The next honorable mention is the very popular 6.5 Creedmoor. Now, say what you will about this cartridge, whether you love it or whether you hate it, it is a pretty darn efficient cartridge. That's why people like it a lot. It's shooting a high BC bullet at decent velocities for the size of this case. This case is actually smaller than a 308 size case, and it gives a very good performance. The last honorable mention cartridge I want to talk about is the 284 Winchester. Now, this cartridge was introduced in 1963, and it was way ahead of its time. In fact, it never really took off. It's probably one of the best cartridges that never became popular. To this day, you still can't get a factory hunting rifle in 284 Winchester, but it's become very popular for PRS. Now let's look at the case dimensions here. In this picture, 284 Winchester is on the right, and on the left is a 7mm 08. So the case diameter is the exact same as the 7mm 08, but as you can see, it's a little bit longer. But what's remarkable is that this cartridge with a 24-inch barrel will have the exact same performance as a 280 Remington. So it makes it a very efficient cartridge. Okay, now we're going to talk about 5 cartridges. These are in no particular order. I just wanted to come up with 5. It's not a top 5, but I had to include the very popular, very efficient 308 Winchester. Now, this cartridge was introduced in the early 50s. It came out as a military cartridge and a commercial cartridge. They are extremely similar, the 308 Winchester and the 7.62 NATO. And the whole point for the 7.62 NATO was to replace the 30-06, specifically in the M1 Garand. The M1 Garand is shooting 30-06 bullets, like 150 grain type bullets, around 2,700 feet per second. And so what the military wanted was that performance in a smaller, lighter action and cartridge. So it's less weight to carry around than those big 30-06 bullets. And that's what they get with the 308 Winchester. is it is very good at almost matching 30-06 performance, and it definitely matched the M1 Garand performance. So let's go ahead and look at the numbers for this 308. So let's just go to the 150 grain. You can get this guy going, well, as you can see, 2,900 feet per second hand loading it. Now it's going to vary depending on your rifle and how long your barrel is. On average, you're going to see 2,800 plus feet per second at least in this cartridge. And with it only shooting mid 40 grains of powder, and it's only going to be about 100 feet per second slower than a 30-06 that's using at least 10 more grains of powder, sometimes 15 more grains. Yeah, this thing is extremely efficient. It's so efficient that it's the parent case to a lot of other great cartridges. The next most efficient hunting cartridge is a cartridge not a lot of people really know about. Now in front of me is a 6.5 Creedmoor, and the parent case to the 6.5 Creedmoor is the 30 TC, and that's the cartridge I want to talk about. The 30 TC was introduced in 2007, so just right before the popular 6.5 Creedmoor, which makes sense because this is the parent case. So it's similar case dimensions, obviously the 6.5 Creedmoor, but more closely to a 308 Winchester. It is shortened a bit, and the shoulder is a bit sharper with this cartridge, just like the 6.5 Creedmoor is. But as you can see, the case dimensions are a little below 2 inches, and it's a very efficient cartridge. Let's just look at some of the velocities with a 180 grain bullet. You can get a max, now you have to really stuff it full of powder, but you can get a max velocity of 27-22. That's in 30-06 factory ammo realm, which is very good. So this is one of the most efficient 30 caliber cartridges. Now, why didn't this cartridge really take off? Well, it's about the same performance as a 308 Winchester. And why get a new 30 caliber when the 308 it does everything and that this 30 TC can do, and it's roughly the same performance. So I would say it's kind of a dead cartridge, the 30 TC is, but it's a very efficient one. Up next on the list is the 325 Winchester Short Magnum. Now what this is a 300 WSM necked up to 8mm. So it's the same, shoots the same diameter bullets as the 8mm Mauser. And it's using the 300 WSM case, and it has almost identical case dimensions to the 300 WSM, just with shooting bigger bullets. And this made it over the 300 WSM because it shoots similar bullets just a little bit faster. Let me just go ahead and show you real quick. So let's look at 180 grain and a max velocity of around 3,150 feet per second. Now the 300 WSM is going to be pushing almost 3,100 feet per second with the same bullet. And so this cartridge is a tad bit more efficient. Again, it's all relative with these magnums because you're still using 73 grains of powder. But this is one of the most efficient magnums you can get. And it's a bit overlooked. It's not the most popular, but it's still actually factory rifles available for this. So you can get a Winchester rifle in 325 WSM. Okay, next we have the 338 Federal. This is another 308 case. So the parent case is a 308 and it's necked up to 338. And I do think it's a bit more efficient than a 308 Winchester. In fact, this is probably one of the most efficient cartridges you can get. Let's just look. Shooting a 180 grain. And this guy is going almost mid 2,700 feet per second. So it matches the 30-06 when you hand load the 338 Federal. Another bullet that it does well with is 200 grain, and it's going a little bit slower, but you can get 2,500 feet per second. The last cartridge I want to talk about is the new 277 Fury, produced by Sig Sauer. This cartridge is a new military cartridge that's also being released commercially. And I would say this is, as a military cartridge, the most efficient cartridge on the planet. Now, there's an asterisk next to this because the commercial version is not near as efficient. So let me get into it real quick. So what is the big difference between the military version and the commercial version? In front of you is the military version, and you can see at the bottom it's a little different. In the head, it's made of stainless steel instead of brass, which it allows it to take a lot higher pressures so that it holds together better than normal brass. And so the military version, it can shoot up to 80,000 psi, which is really high. That's why I say it's probably one of the most efficient cartridges. And the commercial version, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm sure it's going to be around 65,000 psi, which most cartridges are at, around 65,000 psi. Okay, so let's look at the dimensions real quick. This is very similar to a 308 Winchester. And so the commercial version, think of it like a 308 neck down to 270. So it's still pretty good, but performance you're going to get is with like a 135 grain around 2750. But the military version is shooting the 140 grain almost 3,000 feet per second. So if you think about it, and that's with a 16-inch barrel, by the way, so crazy performance from it. Now imagine this in a sniper rifle with a 22 or 24-inch barrel, you're going to get 270 WSM performance from this. So pretty awesome in this small package. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, these are all great, efficient cartridges, but obviously there's a lot more than just the ones I listed. So please let me know below if I missed one of your favorites. Thanks again. Have a great day.